today for another I am Cameroon, I am Project C event taking place here. I am at a location here, and I think my lighting is not necessarily the best, but I'm grateful you all are with us. My name is Are Obenson. I am with Project C, Project Cameroon, and the minutes with you, talking about what we see, find, and maintain and uphold the values of the nation that we all want to see. Going to be talking about that, what we're working on, what we're planning, and we hope that you're also sharing your thoughts. I want to give this another minute or two, so I'm going to rerun our jingle whilst we try to get critical mass to be part of the engagement here today. So we'll give the jingle a second run, and then we'll begin shortly thereafter. Let's sort of share this, and we should begin here. Hi, Leopold.
Hello, hello. We hope we'll have a lot of people today, as expected.
Yes, Saturdays in the summer, always challenging.
Nous espérons avoir vraiment beaucoup de participants.
Because I mean, what we're talking about is crucial, is really important for the future of Cameroon. So let me run the jingle, and then we'll begin at 10 minutes after 9.
Tout à fait.
Oh, Cameroon.
yes, we welcome another Project C, our Saturday meetings will been going. Meetings for whether here on the Zoom or on all the other platforms that it's being broadcasted. I want to use this opportunity to give a big shout out to Mimi Mefo for continuously broadcasting this. It's also being broadcasted on Rebecca Enonchong's X platform as well. I want to thank her and everybody that supports yes, welcoming
Yes.
our audience here, French-speaking audience across the country.
Ouais, merci beaucoup et nous remercions chaleureusement notre bien aimable audience et nous sommes vraiment heureux de pouvoir développer avec cette audience les thèmes capitaux que nous allons aborder à partir d'aujourd'hui et dans les semaines à venir. Donc, voilà, merci et excellent week-end à tous.
Merci, Leopold. So today we're going to be talking essentially about, the theme that we have today is rewriting our history. It's rewriting our story, the country, a new constitution that would be that will first begin by defining who we are, the kind of nation that we want to identify our shared values. And then the next step would be drafting a constitution that we hope to propose to our brothers and sisters, fellow Cameroonians, and hopefully it serves the next generation to not have to experience the challenges that we have experienced in our generation. We owe it to them to provide a path forward to a prosperous Cameroon.
Tout à fait, Harry. Notre souci, c'est vraiment pour les générations futures de leur léguer la vraie histoire. Tu sais, le problème pour les historiens, c'est qu'ils ont souvent, ils sont souvent confrontés à deux principaux problèmes, le négationnisme, le révisionnisme. Mais nous voulons rappeler les faits, des faits qui ont été volontairement occultés et des faits qui sont historiquement, qui ont laissé des traces. Un exemple tout simple, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé en 1961 à Fouman? Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? On a des traces. Donc, en fait, où est-ce qu'on a péché? Donc, nous voulons revoir, revisiter tout cela et en sortir, comme tu l'as si bien dit, le Camerounais, être Camerounais, c'est quoi? Qui sommes-nous? Qu'est-ce qui nous distingue? Qu'est-ce qui nous caractérise? Qu'est-ce qui fait qu'à l'étranger, par exemple, quelles que soient les origines des uns et des autres, dès qu'on dit Cameroun, qu'est-ce qui nous anime? Qu'est-ce qui nous fait vibrer? Donc voilà un peu, en dehors du drapeau, bien sûr.
En dehors du drapeau, à un moment donné, les lions innomitables.
Oui, mais un autre lion qui mord dans une arène du MMA comme Francis Ngannou, ça fait tellement plaisir de voir le drapeau.
Oui.
Ou bien André Onana qui a gagné la coupe,
qui est champion
hier et qui s'est enveloppé du drapeau. Je veux dire, ça c'est très fort. C'est très fort. Mais il faudrait qu'on puisse aller au-delà, qu'on puisse dire qu'en dehors du drapeau, qu'est-ce qui fait de nous, qu'est-ce qui fait que nous sommes des Camerounais? Qu'est-ce qui nous rapproche? Donc, voilà.
Quelles sont nos valeurs.
Yes.
Right. So to generals, but I'll run two videos which encapsulates what we are talking about, what we've been talking about, and I think I'll play one first in French and then in English. Let me see.
Depuis des décennies, les Camerounais.
You can see my screen. Let me try. You hear me, right? Yes, that's right.
On peut entendre l'audio de ton ordinateur. C'est déjà bon signe.
Oh,
Il faut maintenant mettre l'image sur le son.
Let me see. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay. Just give me a minute here. I'm not sure what happened to my video. Cannot find it. Okay.
Depuis des décennies, les Camerounais voient naître l'espoir leur filer entre les doigts. Depuis des décennies.
On ne voit toujours pas l'écran.
Okay.
Switch it.
All right. Now I think I have it right.
Voilà.
Les Camerounais voient naître l'espoir leur filer entre les doigts. Les
décisions. Est-ce que tu peux reprendre, s'il te plaît, Harry?
Yes. Nos voix sont étouffées par le pouvoir.
We lost the first part.
Okay.
Depuis des décennies, les Camerounais voient naître l'espoir leur filer entre les doigts. Les décisions concernant notre avenir se prennent à huis clos. Nos voix sont étouffées par le pouvoir et la politique. On ne cesse de nous dire qui nous sommes et ce que nous devons accepter. Mais et si, pour une fois, nous décidions par nous-mêmes? Et si, pour la première fois, l'âme du Cameroun était façonnée non pas par ce qui nous divise, mais par ce qui nous unit? Imaginez un mouvement, non pas de politiciens, mais de citoyens. Imaginez chaque recoin de ce pays, chaque hameau, village, ville, chaque région, élection. Pas pour le pouvoir. Imaginez faire passer le pays avant soi-même, l'amour avant la haine, le Cameroun avant la tribu, la langue ou la région. Imaginez les vendeurs de rue, les motos professionnels et la diaspora, travaillant ensemble, partout, pour quelque chose de plus grand que chacun d'entre nous. Ce n'est pas un rêve, c'est le projet C. Pour la première fois, nous, le peuple, nous rassemblerons pour répondre aux questions les plus difficiles et les plus importantes. Quel genre de pays voulons-nous? Qu'est-ce Camerounais? Nous écouterons, nous débattrons, nous rédigerons une nouvelle constitution, nos rêves, notre détermination à construire un Cameroun empreint de dignité, de paix et de prospérité. C'est un mouvement né du peuple, pour le peuple. Fini les décisions prises pour nous, sans nous. Fini d'attendre la permission d'espérer. Un nouveau Cameroun est possible, non pas déterminé par notre passé colonial, mais par notre avenir commun. Rejoignez le mouvement pour un nouveau Cameroun.
Hi, Leopold. This encapsulates what we have been talking about, what we're going to be trying to do in the next 4 months. And each time I watch this video, it reminds me of just how important and necessary this initiative is for our country. You have to unmute. You have to unmute yourself, Leopold.
Pas sur la base du passé, du passé colonial, mais plutôt l'avenir. Qu'est-ce qui nous unit? Évidemment, nous savons très bien que nous voulons un Cameroun réconcilié avec lui-même, parce que c'est fondamental pour pouvoir regarder dans la même direction.
Yeah, I would play the same video in English for our English-speaking audience here.
Decades, Cameroonians have watched as hope slipped through our fingers. Decisions about our future made behind closed doors. Our voices drowned out by power and politics. Again and again, we have been told who we are and what we must accept. But what if, for once, we decide for ourselves? What if, for the first time, the soul of Cameroon is shaped not by what divides us, but by what unites us? Imagine a movement, not of politicians, but of people. Imagine every corner of this country, every hamlet, village, town, city, every region, rising together with one purpose. Not for an election, not for power, but for one nation, once and for all. Imagine putting country over self, love over hate, Cameroon over tribe, language, or region. Imagine the street vendors, the motorcycle taxi drivers, the trade unions, traditional rulers, professionals, and the diaspora, working together everywhere for something bigger than any one of us. This is not a dream. This is Project C. For the first time, we, the people, will come together to answer the hardest, most important questions. What kind of country do we want? What makes us Cameroonian? How do we finally lay to rest the ghosts of the past and create a future where every citizen belongs? Over the next 4 months, we will listen. We will debate. We will draft a new constitution. One that reflects our diversity, our dreams, our determination to build a Cameroon of dignity, peace, and prosperity. This is a movement born of the people, for the people. No more decisions made for us, without us. No more waiting for permission to hope. A new Cameroon is possible, not determined by our colonial past, but by our common future. Join the movement for a new Cameroon.
Yes, we are hoping that you all will join the is the most noble work that we can do for our country and for generations to come. So I am elated, excited, and thrilled to have the opportunity, the privilege to attempt to do this for my country, Cameroon. And I hope this inspires the country and people see this as well as a privilege that they can do for Cameroon and for future generations of Cameroonians.
Il faudrait peut-être ajouter, Ray, que ça nous fait extrêmement plaisir de voir tous ceux qui se mobilisent, même à travers notre site web, pour pouvoir participer et pour pouvoir être vraiment partie prenante de ce processus. C'est très encourageant. Et vraiment, on se sent gratifié en tout cas.
Wait, very. I think maybe at this point we're going to bring in Eric, and Eric, last week we didn't have you as part of the conversation, but we did share
C'est un
the video.
C'est un globetrotter.
We did share the video which you did last week,
Right.
which was really an appeal to the country about this initiative. And today we really want to spend time talking about why us, why Project C is embarking on this, and why now, right? Because this is really important. We know in seeing this, so many people are thinking, is this even possible? Some people would think, do we have the power? Who are we to even attempt to do this? All of those questions we know are in the minds of people, but we are here to begin that engagement, answering those questions. But we're also here to explain why it is crucial that we don't wait another day to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, thanks a lot, Ari, and thanks, Paul. I am actually in The Hague right now, and even though I've been to the Netherlands, you know, I first came here to the Netherlands in 1977 with President Paul Biya. And at the time, the Princess Beatrice, who was still a princess, she wasn't queen yet, she actually, at the end of that visit, gave a number of us medals, some medal of honor. And I got the medal of the Knight of Orange Nassau. I didn't know I was going to come here. I would have worn it and strolled the streets of The Hague, you know. And I've been here to Amsterdam, to Rotterdam, but I never came here to The Hague. And I'm just amazed at how this is really I thought Brussels, I came here from Brussels. So I thought Brussels was the headquarters of Europe, but I think it's actually The Hague. It has all kinds of things, you know. I used to think the only thing here is the ICC.
Yeah.
Court, patent office. So there's nothing you patent without it coming through The Hague. The Queen is here, and the King, of course, and the government, the Parliament, and of course, there's so much going on in the Gbagbo, President Laurent Gbagbo, who was held here. And I spent a lot of time talking about him to people who know him, because, as you can imagine, now here in The Hague, they've accepted their place. They're now proud because they're respected. And they're respected because of the three things I said. You know, their language, almost no Cameroonian I saw here doesn't speak three languages, French, English, and Dutch. So they're respected for their mastery of languages. They're respected for their intelligence, which is, fairly obvious. And they're respected, for, and then of course, people here recall the whole history of our people and of our place, of the country. And so yesterday was, being with them and talking and recognize the pride of being Cameroonian. Just reminded me again of the work we are trying to do, that we cannot, the food was just extraordinary. You should have seen people from all over the world because they invited diplomats from everywhere. You should have seen them eating ndole and eru and bobolo and achu and you name it. They were eating. I was just, it was just such a pride, and I'm hoping that, I believe that our mission as Project C is to help the nation find that pride again.
Absolutely.
Au sein du Cameroun même, au sein du pays, que ce que tu as vu à l'extérieur, qu'on le voit au sein du Cameroun.
Absolument. Parce que, en fait, ce que je disais, donc, c'est que hier, j'ai vécu ce Cameroun que j'ai connu. Quand je suis venu dans ce pays pour la première fois en 1978 avec le président Aïdjo, il y avait une certaine fierté. On était tellement... Et puis, quand je suis parti du pays pour aller faire mes études aux États-Unis, j'avais envie de rentrer. À la fin de mes études, il y avait du travail. On me donnait des trucs par-ci, par-là aux États-Unis à l'époque. On m'a même donné la nationalité américaine que je n'ai pas pris. Et je n'ai pas pris parce que quand je suis allé déposer mes documents, on m'a dit, votre passeport a moins de 6 mois de validité. Et qu'il fallait absolument avoir un passeport avec une validité de plus de 6 mois. Donc, je suis allé à l'ambassade pour renouveler mon passeport pour pouvoir avoir la nationalité américaine. Et arrivé à l'ambassade, l'ambassadeur que je connaissais bien, j'étais un grand ami à son fils, Emmanuel Pondi, que beaucoup connaissent. Donc, c'était l'ambassadeur Pondi. Il me dit, il me dit tristement, vous voulez renouveler pour aller chercher une autre nationalité? Je suis vraiment désolé. Et quand je lui ai demandé, mais pourquoi? Il me dit, allez voir M. Quenti, qui était l'attaché culturel. Et c'est lui qui m'explique que si on va te donner, aucun problème. Mais dès que tu déposes ça et tu deviens américain, tu reviens nous remettre notre passeport parce que le Cameroun n'accepte pas la double nationalité. Je ne savais pas. Donc, c'est la première fois que j'ai appris. Et sur le champ, je me suis levé du bureau de M. Quenti. Il est encore vivant, je crois, et il peut témoigner. Dès qu'il m'a dit ça, je me suis levé et je suis sorti de son bureau. Il lui a dit, bon, laissez, moi je vais rentrer avant l'expiration de mon passeport. Je n'ai pas pris, c'était en 81, depuis 82 quand j'ai terminé mes études. Donc, c'est pour dire qu'il y avait cette fierté qu'on avait tous dans ce pays, ce Cameroun. Quand je regardais l'avenir, était sûr. On n'avait pas de doute. Il n'y avait pas ce sentiment qui a mené à la crise anglophone. Ceux qui ne le savent pas, c'est peut-être le lieu de rappeler que cette crise est partie de la Constitution. Les gens ont commencé à s'amuser avec la Constitution. Et ces Camerounais qui nous écoutent, soit ici sur le Zoom ou sur Mimi, enfin, toutes les autres plateformes, il faut qu'ils le sachent et qu'ils le disent. Les gens s'amusaient avec la Constitution. 1961, il y avait une constitution fédérale. J'espère que je suis en train de prendre du temps, mais je crois que ça vaut.
Non, il faut, absolument.
En 61, il y avait une constitution fédérale. C'était bien. Un partage de pouvoir, les responsabilités des uns et des autres, tout était bien défini dans cette constitution. Et qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? 3 ans plus tard, en 64, on découvre que le pétrole, Elf, la société française, découvre donc que le pétrole du Cameroun était surtout de ce qu'on appelle le Bight of Biafra ou le golfe de Guinée à côté de Ndian. Donc, dans ce qu'on appelait donc à l'époque le Cameroun occidental. Dès que les Français ont vu ça, ils ont appelé Aïdjo pour dire écoutez, voici ce qui va se passer avec le pétrole. Aïdjo leur a dit non, la gestion de ces ressources-là incombe à la partie anglophone, donc Cameroun occidental. Et ce sont eux qui vont décider comment on distribue cette richesse. Et immédiatement, on a insisté, Aïdjo doit donc reprendre ce pouvoir de gestion des ressources sortant du pétrole. Et c'est donc comme ça qu'à partir de 64, on planifiait déjà le changement de la Constitution qui a abouti donc
en 72.
72, et cette fête où j'étais hier est partie de cette était montée de toutes pièces, mais évidemment, on n'était pas aussi sophistiqué, donc les gens ne comprenaient pas de quoi il s'agissait. Donc de 72, c'était encore et quand même la République unie du Cameroun qui reconnaissait donc les deux parties. Et ça, la partie anglophone avait encore quelques pouvoirs parce qu'il y avait un premier ministre et un gouvernement. Mais partant de là, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? On a petit à petit, on a tout annulé, tout ce qui était de l'autre côté, même l'énergie, avec ce qu'on appelait à l'époque le power cam, la distribution de l'énergie au Cameroun, le Cameroun occidental, a été fermée. Toutes les grosses boîtes, Produce Marketing Board, par exemple, fermées. Central Coffee Estate, fermé. Les projets de construction d'un port à eau profonde à Douala, à Limbe, à Victoria à l'époque, a abandonné. La génération de l'électricité, donc à partir d'un barrage à Menchum Falls,
et à Yoke,
a annulé. Le Ring Road, qui devait, n'est-ce pas, réunir, n'est-ce pas, les centres de production dans le nord-ouest, abandonné. Et puis,
le Public Works Department.
Le Public Works Department, le PWD.
Les engins ramenés à Yaoundé.
Ah. Donc, et à partir de cette date-là, les routes n'étaient plus entretenues, il n'y avait pas de... C'est tout ça qui nous a amenés là où on est aujourd'hui. Et pire encore, en 84, sans passer par un référendum, sans discussion à l'Assemblée nationale, le président Biya a fait un décret en 84 pour changer la nature de la République, donc la Constitution. Et on se retrouvait donc avec la République du Cameroun. Et c'est de cet acte que l'Ambazonie est née, le mot Ambazonie. Parce qu'il y a des anglophones qui ont dit non. Ce retour au Cameroun français ne nous convient pas. Et c'est à partir de cette date, la personne qui avait sorti le mot Ambazonia, the Republic of Ambazonia, il est encore vivant à Londres, monsieur l'avocat Godji Dinka. Et donc, partant de là, on se retrouvait. En fait, là, cette division au pays qui a abouti donc à la guerre dite anglophone, c'est là où c'était parti. Donc, c'est la Constitution qui est à la base. Corriger le problème du Cameroun aujourd'hui, c'est de rentrer en arrière, repartir au point de départ de 61 et adopter un système fédéral forcément, mais quel genre de système, ça c'est le débat à avoir. Et puis reconnaître ça dans la Constitution. En 2008, on a annulé les mandats présidentiels. C'est encore la Constitution. Tous nos problèmes, pour ceux qui ne le savent pas, tous nos problèmes aujourd'hui proviennent, n'est-ce pas, de la qualité non seulement de nos constitutions, mais de la manière dont nous jouons, comme si la Constitution, c'est un petit jeu, un bout de papier où on peut jeter, froisser, jeter comme on veut. C'est pour ça qu'aujourd'hui, Project C, on est en train de dire, listen guys, let's go back to the Constitution. Repartons, regardons de quoi est cette Constitution. Et que ça ne soit pas pour protéger certains intérêts, comme c'était le cas avec les Français. Retournons à cette Constitution, pas pour faire en sorte que personne, aucun groupe ne puisse modifier ça à volonté. C'est ça, de ça qu'il s'agit. So we're going back. That is what Project C has decided to do. To go back to the beginning, to take us back to the drawing board, to have a national conversation with everybody so that we can decide together how we want to live together, whether we are a single nation of people who are proud of belonging in that nation. What is it that makes us proud? I saw some of it yesterday in the eyes of Cameroonians. Let's find it. We were proud of our food because everybody, white, black, yellow, you name it, they were at that embassy thing last night and eating and enjoying the food. The food is something that we should be proud of. And if you saw the range of the menu, that is the range of the culture of Cameroon. That's the cultural range. So our diversity is something we should be proud of. I was looking at the food on the table last night, and I'm like, wow, this is heaven on earth. When Fonderson, Tony, who works for the patent office, the former Cameroon ambassador here is the number 2 in that office, a global office. When you look at all these Cameroonians, my goodness, in university in this country, they were all there. And I saw a friend, Vincent, who used to be a journalist in Cameroon back then, when Cameroon was Cameroon. And he was telling me he's back home now, he's old, he's retired. But Vincent is he is Cameroonian. He always told me anyway, he's more Cameroonian than Dutch. And he was there yesterday proudly showing describing the food. This is Eru, this is Ndole, this is this. He was explaining it to people with pride, as if it was his country. So we have to dig deep in ourselves, in our country. We have to look at what it is that makes us who we are and project it. The world will be happy to know the Cameroon that we know. And we should be proud of it. And as I've tried to say, it all goes back to the Constitution. Every time the country has been messed up, they've tweaked the Constitution. They tweaked the Constitution to make sure we could have a president for life. They tweaked it in 2008, taking away term limits. They did it deliberately, but they did it through the Constitution. That is why we have to find the courage. We have to find the strength of character to say enough is enough. We're rebuilding this country. We're going to play by the rules. We're going to ensure that the wealth of the country is shared as equally as possible. That is where we are. And that's why Project C has given up on everything else and decided to look at the Constitution that will allow us to rebuild the country, reconstitute it based on its values and symbols. And that's what we're going to do. And we're hoping that everybody will join us in this effort and make this country the great nation it has to be. I know I've been talking for too long, Leopold. Over to you guys.
Yes, Eric. I mean, you have given us a good. You've laid the foundation of why this is necessary, why we must embark on this. And prior to this call, I was actually talking with Leopold, and this question came up like, do we have the power to do this? Who are we to have the audacity to try to do this? And I would like to get Leopold's thoughts on that, because Leopold had some really very intriguing thoughts on how people perceive or see power. Right?
Oui, tout à fait. Dans les multiples forums dans lesquels nous partageons nos programmes, nos flyers, il y a quelqu'un qui a demandé, mais pour pouvoir discuter de ça, il faut d'abord avoir le pouvoir, non? Donc, je me suis abstenu de lui dire qu'en réalité, nous avions déjà le pouvoir, parce que le peuple, dans sa souveraineté, c'est lui qui a le pouvoir. Et nous pensons que décider, comme nous le faisons, de convier vraiment la nation, les gens à réfléchir sur ce que c'est que la nation camerounaise, c'est déjà une partie de ce pouvoir. Parce que bon, je sais qu'il parlait du pouvoir au niveau des dirigeants, mais nous savons que ce type de pouvoir-là, c'est plus ou moins une illusion. Parce que quand on voit comment cela s'achève souvent pour certains, on se demande finalement, le pouvoir, c'était ça. Non, nous pensons que c'est très courageux de décider à un moment donné de réfléchir sur ces thématiques, ce fondement, qu'est-ce qui fait de nous Camerounais, quelles sont les valeurs que nous voulons vraiment promouvoir, qu'est-ce qui nous unit, qu'est-ce qui nous attache. Et pour certains, cela peut paraître révolutionnaire, oui, c'est vrai, mais comme on l'a rappelé la semaine dernière, Schopenhauer et Gandhi, qui disent que
Leopold?
Yeah. I think his network is down.
Au Cameroon, Leopold. Leopold is not in Cameroon, he's in Kenya, which is supposed to be a major technology hub in Africa. Anyway.
Leopold is back.
Ah, Leopold, tu es de retour. Sauf que ton micro est fermé.
Non, c'est bon, ça va? Allô?
Oui, c'est bon.
Oui, c'est bon.
Donc, je disais, toute révolution passe par 3 étapes. Premièrement, c'est ridicule, qui va vous suivre. Deuxièmement, quand on persiste, on se dit, ah, là, c'est dangereux. Là, vous êtes en train d'aller, là, c'est dangereux. Mais quand on franchit cette deuxième étape, les gens disent, ben oui, en fait, c'est évident. Il suffisait de commencer. Eh bien, nous avons commencé et nous sommes très heureux, comme on le disait avec Harry tout à l'heure, que nous avons de plus en plus de gens qui manifestent vraiment leur intérêt pour pouvoir participer à cet échange. Et nous n'avons que 4 mois pour cela. Et donc, ça fait beaucoup de travail. C'est très, très, très encourageant. C'est très motivant.
Eric, what are your thoughts on this whole question of who are we to be able to do this? Because from my perspective, that question is actually because we are the people. We are the people, and that in itself is the beginning of the Constitution of Cameroon. Is we the people? Yeah.
Yes, one of the things that constitutions, I don't know that constitutions around the world have actually defined the power of the people, because defining it and educating people on that power can totally change the dynamics of things. So one of the things we really have to try and figure out is how we educate people on the power, that sovereign power that belongs to the people, because that is where it begins. And that power is not politics, it's not economics, it is a natural phenomenon.
Yes.
And all we have to do is remind people that they own it.
Yeah.
It belongs to them. And the politicians have taken that sovereign power and redefined it in a way that it can be shared. And then there are people who have it and there are those who don't. When that is totally not true. So when I hear questions like those, where does that audacity come from? For me, it is ignorance. It's an absence of a deeper understanding of what it is we are trying to achieve. So, yes, I understand when people think this is, we don't have the to do what we're trying to sit and vote and change leadership. It's the people who determine. Ultimately, Mr. Biya, as president, has never declared himself, written a decree to declare himself president. He's always, whether he faked it or not, he has always had to go through authorization from the people, which comes through an election. That is because whether we recognize it or not, the power is not with the president. The power is with the people who elect the president. And it's that sovereign power that we have to recognize. We have to help our folks recognize. And then based on that, we now talk about how we divvy up power, how we ensure that the power that is, which comes from the people, can be used to ensure that people are treated equally in the system. How we can ensure that justice takes place. How we can ensure that there's a separation of powers so that how we can avoid dictatorships. We have now a dictatorship of the group, of handful of people. How do we avoid that? We have to avoid that. Nobody can say Cameroon is in a good place today. Nobody. No prime minister, or my friend John Gute cannot say that. The President Paul Biya too, I wrote a letter to this president, yes, a few days ago. He cannot say that because I recognize it. And this president, for those who don't know, I mean, let me say it, has often told me, come tell me the truth. Famin Dongo is there. He can say, he knows that the president sent him to me. Because I know that this president always wanted the truth. And I can, Sharon Dongo, you can ask him. Mr. Biya asked me to work when I was still on Cameroon television. I tell you these stories now, but my friends know them already. The president calls me one evening and says, can you think of a program that will get Cameroonians thinking again? People have gone to sleep. Ils dorment tous.
C'était après les vents d'Est, là, non?
This was well before the fall of the Berlin Wall. Mm-hmm. This was in 89, early 89. Okay. The Berlin Wall fell in November of 89.
November, yeah.
And opened up the winds of change. Mr. Biya thought about it before everything was calm in the country. Too calm for him to tell me, look, think of something on television to wake people up, to get them to talk. This is a true story. And Sharon Dongo is there because when I brought this now I left the presidency, came and spent 2 weeks asking people, talking to people, and finally came up with the idea of a program. And when after deciding on the nature of that program, I had to find people who are willing to talk freely and openly and take up any subject. I spent 2 weeks trying to find somebody, 1 or 2 people that nobody would speak. Say, no, c'est un piège. Il est en train de nous piéger. That's a trap that I'm trying to get them. How can I be telling somebody to come and say anything on television? So nobody, after 2 weeks, I couldn't find a single person to come on that program. Not one.
Il faut peut-être rappeler qu'il n'y avait qu'une seule chaîne de télévision à l'époque.
And there was only one, as one broadcast outlet, not the multiplicity of television stations you have now. So after 2 weeks of frustration, unable to find anybody, I went back to the president and told him that, because he had told me the idea was great. I went, told him, and I said, Mr. President, I'm willing to do the program, but nobody believes me. Everybody thinks I'm trying to get them to be arrested. You know what Mr. Biya did? He took a piece of paper and wrote 2 names. The president, who was in a meeting, paused in time, and wrote 2 names on a piece of paper and got somebody to bring it to me. I was waiting outside. A guy called Mvamba Albert. Mr. Mvamba brought me a piece of paper with 2 names on them. I asked him who these people are. I said, I've gone everywhere. I've not found anybody who's willing to speak. And Mvamba told me, oh, I've never heard him speak. And somebody here in the presidency will not be speaking openly. So I don't know why his name is here. That name was Amini Bielo. He's still around. People can, maybe if Amini or anybody who knows him is listening, he will tell you the story. And then the next name was Lep Roger.
Roger Gabriel Lep.
Roger Gabriel Lep. And I'd never heard the name. Mvamba had only seen one name, but didn't know the person who works in the presidency. Later on, we found out that Lep was a professor in the university. And something happened that evening. I came down and I told Shandong about the program and that we have some 2 names. Even Charles could not believe it. I didn't want to tell him that it's the president who had asked me to do this. So Charles was a little unsure, but I told him, look, go find out who this guy is. I'm told, go to the university and find out if there's a Lep Roger, and ask him if he'll come to TV and open up about the state of Cameroon as he sees it. And that I'm going to find out from this guy who works in the presidency called Amini Bielo. As I went to Amini Bielo's house, he was living in Longkak at the time. I went to his house. He recognized me, of course, from television. Said, come on in, Eric. I came in and we sat down, said, oh, so you've come to my poor house. Well, I said, look, and then he just started complaining right there. Look at the house of un docteur en Sciences Po. I have a doctorate in political science. Look at the state of my house. I cannot even welcome you. So tell me, what brings you to my house? So I told him about this program that I wanted to do. As soon as I finished talking, I could not hold Lep back. He jumped out of his seat. He said, if you're serious, let's go to your television. I'm ready to speak right now. And the question I asked myself, how did Mr. Biya know? How did he know? This guy, I had problems holding him back. And then the next morning, this was in the evening, the next morning, I'm at the TV house. Charles comes in and says, Charles, did you find that guy called Lep? Charles just put his hands on. He said, Eric, who did you send me to? I could not hold him. He wanted to come on television now and speak. That is, so that's what happened. So within a day or two, we had the program. Lep Roger, Amini Bielo, and the late Penda Ekoka. And then Michael Tondio, former minister, and Ambassador Ndifonta Nyamdi. So we had a program with these 5 gentlemen. And we recorded the program for broadcast the next day. It's important that I tell the story.
Ouais, absolument.
If I'm taking too much time, please stop.
Please.
No.
The country needs to hear this story.
Voilà, c'est très important que tu donnes la fin de l'histoire, s'il te plaît.
Merci, Léopold. So, next day, a couple of days later, we record the program. When we started recording the program, everything stopped in the entire CRTV building.
Tout à fait.
Because people could follow the programs. It was being recorded, not live, but in the TV house, they could follow the program on with the intercom, through the intercom, the internal communication system.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who could hear that program, they stopped everything. There were people who had come to record other programs. Everything stopped. People had never heard anything close to that on television in Cameroon. Nobody had heard that. This was the most revolutionary, because Lep Roger literally just said, he said, this is, and Amini Bielo, he said, this is a rotten political system that will destroy this country, and blah, blah, blah. They went on and on. Ekoka talked about the economy and said, we're going nowhere. There's no economic system. There's no vision here. We're destroying this country. And there were people attacking Mr. Biya directly. And Cameroon had never heard anything like this. You come and you attack the president on television. They were willing to, look, the director of television, Director General, Mendoza at the time, was in Douala. He could not stop it because he didn't know. They called him No, not yet. They didn't call him yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. We recorded the program.
Yes, sir.
Everything was done. And then it lasted almost 3 hours, 40 minutes.
Faut peut-être dire que toute la télévision était effrayée, hein, Eric, parce que
Everybody
les
was
gens
scared.
avaient peur.
Everybody was scared.
On avait peur.
So when we finished recording the program, around 6:30, we had to transfer it. I wanted the President of the Republic to see the program first, because it was, even though I know he had asked for it, I thought, no, he did not see this coming. So I had to, for him to be able to play it, I had to transfer it into
VHS.
A VHS tape. So, and it would take, at the time, you could not do it quickly, it had to take the 3 hours, 40 minutes to transfer it into the VHS. So I did, transferred it, and we finished. I was working with a colleague at the time, Guamesia. We finished transferring it. And we finished around 7 in the morning, because we started after 12, well after programs ended. So by 7:30 in the morning, I was at the presidency, went in, gave it to the late Roger Motazi, brother of the finance minister. And I said, please, he says, well, I said, the president must see this as soon as possible. And he was a fantastic guy, the late Roger Motazi, a wonderful guy around the president. He did not, he not only protected the president, but he also allowed the president to see everything. So I told him what was on the tape. And he took it in. I went home, because I'd worked all night. I took a shower, came back from my, everybody was just looking at me as if I was a ghost. All the journalists, everybody, even Shandong, with whom I'd done the program, was scared.
Yeah.
Everybody was. I was the only one at that time who knew that the one person behind this, how I believed I was, the only one who knew that the President of the Republic was behind this. But after we recorded the program, and given the intensity of the criticism from everybody, even I was afraid, which is why I decided the president must see this before we broadcast it in the evening. So I gave it to Roger. He took it to the president, and I went back home, got ready, came back to TV, saw everybody looking at me, people waiting, unable to even ask me questions. So when I came and I sat down, we had our editorial conference, and I told people, no, not to worry, everything was under control, blah, blah, all of that stuff. Around 10 o'clock, we finished the conference, because we usually have this conference to send people out to do their reportage and everything. I went up to my office, and thank God, when I went up to my office, Charles and I were walking together. And my office was on the 5th floor. So as we were going into my office, the phone was ringing in my office and in my secretariat. And I told Charles, please pick up the phone in the secretariat. And I picked up the phone in my office. And the reason I say this is because as soon as I picked up the phone, I heard the voice of Mbamba Albert. And he was telling me, Eric, the president has seen the program almost. He could not wait for me to call you and to congratulate you for doing what he hoped you would do. Biya was all the president could not even wait to the end of the program to call me and congratulate me. So I'm relieved, I'm delighted. And then as I hung up that phone, I heard Charles in the secretary say, oui, Monsieur le Ministre, c'était Eric, Monsieur le Ministre, So I went in. Charles was telling some minister, actually, I'll tell you who the minister was. But he was telling him, oui, c'est Eric, monsieur le ministre, Eric qui a demandé de faire. Oui, mais on l'a fait. So I entered my secretariat, and then he said, d'ailleurs, le voici, monsieur le ministre. So Charles hands the phone to me, and it was Esso Laurent.
Director of Civil Cabinet.
Was the director of Civil Cabinet. And Esso Laurent says, well, you know, gentleman, as usual, oui, Eric, ça va, oui, monsieur le ministre, mais Eric, vous voulez mettre le feu dans le pays, you know, you want to burn the country down. And I was saying, no, Mr. Minister. He says, well, you know, we've decided that that program will not be aired. And I said, no, you can't do that, Mr. Minister. I am taking my, I told him, I said, I'll take my responsibilities as editor-in-chief. Je suis le rédacteur en chef, Monsieur le ministre, je prends mes responsabilités. And then he was saying, no. I said, Monsieur le ministre, je suis désolé. Je prends mes responsabilités. And he said, okay, très bien, ne quittez pas. And he hands me over to the Secretary General of the presidency. And it was Mr. Edouard
Titus.
No, at the time, on that day, it was Akamufumu Edouard.
Okay.
Another super gentleman, someone I have nothing but absolute respect for. And he takes, you know, just, oui, Eric, ça va, oui, monsieur le ministre, monsieur le secrétaire, whatever. Oui, vous ne devez pas, you can't put this program on the air. We've heard about it. And I'm thinking, how did he hear about it? I only had one copy, which I'd given to the president. And I'm just from the phone where the president is delighted, happy that this program should be broadcast immediately. And then this guy is telling me, so he kept saying, and then I kept telling him the same thing. I said, mais monsieur le secrétaire général, je dois prendre mes responsabilités. Je suis quand même le rédacteur en chef de la télévision. Je prends mes responsabilités. And he said, vos responsabilités. Enfin, monsieur Mendoza est à Douala. That's when he informed me. C'est monsieur Mendoza est à Douala. Je lui ai demandé de rentrer tout de suite. Et si cette émission passe ce soir, qu'il plie ses bagages et quitte la télévision. That's what the Secretary General told me. So I found myself cornered. And I said, avant de le faire, Monsieur le Secrétaire Général, voir avec
le président,
votre hiérarchie. That's all I said. And as soon as I said that, he said, pardon, Eric. And he hung up. So Akamufumu found out from me, and then that this had been done between the president and myself. Monsieur Akamufumu est toujours là. He can confirm the story. And from that moment on, Foshive, that's how I found out anyway, that everything we were doing on television ended up with Foshive. And when he saw this, he invited all the ministers, all the top ministers, and the Secretary General, and they had a meeting that night. So whilst I was making the copy on VHS, they were viewing the program because for Shive's people, and I found out who, had made a parallel copy of the program and taken it to him. And then they had a meeting, and the minister said, nope, if this program is aired, this country will burn. Why they thought so, I don't know. When Biya didn't think so. So the next morning, as the day went on, I was confident that I'll broadcast this program. I was confident that in the evening. So I had it with me. I didn't want anybody to hold on to that tape. But Mendoza had come back and given instructions that tape should not be played. And he put people around all the studios so that I could not play it anywhere. I didn't care. I mean, I knew that in the evening I'll just, have the presidency call. So around 5 o'clock, I called the president had given me a number to call at any time, and I'll get through to him. I called that number from 5, 6, 7.
Fini.
But it didn't go through. The
Pas
number never
d'abonnés à
went
ce numéro.
Yes. And not only did that number never go through, but the program was never aired.
C'est ça
That
le plus
program was
important.
never aired. Democracy in Cameroon would have been in a whole different place. And I say this to point to a very important fact, that Mr. Biya, and I have proof of it, and it's contained in my letter to him, which is why I said I wrote to him. This president, I can point to other instances where he had the ideas that you and I would appreciate. But as on that day of this tape, his ministers were able to say, "Yet, it's not you, the president. If this is about preserving this country, we know better than you do." And there have been many such instances. I recall them in my letter to him. I recalled, and I'll give just one more. I recalled the instance when he gave me his vision of Cameroon. And I was so excited. And then he says, "Look, if there's anything you think I should know, please let me know." And after I spoke to the president twice, his closest collaborators warned me against telling him things. Esolora. He knows how often they told me, "No, you can't tell the president this." Famendo, he was there at the presidency, chargé de mission. You can't tell the president this. Even the minister I have the most respect for, Sadi Reni, he was there. They all told me, "No, you can't be telling the president these things. When you leave, it is on us that he vents his frustrations." So, and I know what I told Mr. Biya on occasion, even after I'd left the country. He sent Famendongo to ask me about the Anglophone crisis, what should be done. And I told him. And I know now that maybe this guy never knew about those, that information never got to him. So the only thing that could have saved Mr. Biya is the Constitution, and save us and the country. That clique around him, and I say it with absolute certainty, the clique around him, and I'm not taking anything away from him, his own responsibilities, because I know those. But if he had had people around him who were more interested in the country than keeping their office, Cameroon would be in a different place today. Cameroon would be in a different place today. That's why it is so important that we take power away from the presidency, because these people knew that the only person who could keep them in their offices was Mr. Biya. And they were not looking at Biya to serve the country. They're looking at Biya to serve their own interests. And if anybody out there wants to argue this, I'm willing to go on television with him or her to make my point. There are lots of other things I'll say as we go along. I read not today, but to make the case for a constitutional change in Cameroon, and I rest my case there. I see Christian will have questions for me after this.
Mais Eric, il faut peut-être rappeler, je tiens vraiment à rappeler juste que cet événement a eu lieu en 1989, c'est-à-dire il y a pratiquement 37 ans. Et que le président Biya n'a pas pu faire passer son idée. Et on sait maintenant quels sont les freins et les obstacles. Mais je souligne la date pour dire depuis combien de temps cela dure. Il faudrait vraiment faire quelque chose.
Oui.
Façon de dire que, en fait, pour dire que même quand nous aurons arrêté l'analyse de tout ce qu'on aura reçu comme données, pour pouvoir produire ce document historique pour le Cameroun, il faudrait maintenant que nous trouvions le moyen de faire en sorte que ce
Ils veulent modifier cette constitution. Mais il y a des choses que même un Trump ne peut pas faire. Et c'est ça que nous tenons absolument à avoir dans ce que nous allons proposer aux Camerounais.
Ajouter à ce que tu dis, un phénomène remarquable dans la Constitution américaine qui permet qu'un chef d'État puisse être victime d'un impeachment.
Absolument.
C'est impensable chez nous. Oui. Donc, voilà.
Exact, exact. Non, donc, avec la Constitution, nous pouvons s'assurer, prendre des dispositions pour que aucun chef d'État, aucun ministre, personne, il y a certains droits qui ne peuvent pas franchir. Et on doit le faire. Donc, à travers la Constitution, nous pouvons régler nous pouvons régler beaucoup
des hommes forts pour pouvoir faire valoir, cette constitution-là, parce que c'est important.
Le point de départ,
disons
voilà, c'est ça que...
Mais les gars, laissez-moi vous dire que si c'est... Il y a deux choses. D'abord, il faut écrire de manière claire n'est-ce pas, cette constitution. Deuxièmement, éduquer les Camerounais sur leur droit du peuple. C'est à eux de défendre cette constitution. Et c'est pas, on saura. Si un président arrive et il tient absolument à violer, on veut violer la constitution américaine, mais il a peur des Américains. Il a peur des Américains. Donc, non. Tout part. Le point de nous voulons faire.
Et tu parlais de Trump, nous voyons les démissions en cascade autour de lui.
Exact.
Oui. Au Cameroun, dans la définition de notre pays, et c'est exactement ce qu'on veut.
I see the third member of your triumvirate is here.
Chris. Yes, Chris is here. And we're going to open up here for conversations. But Eric, thank you for sharing that story about about Cameroon. And as we're going to do in the next 4 months is all the process for our country, and we need this because to the point that you've made, it is the people around the press
proud that Cameroon was one of the first countries to change governments without a coup. And I was my roommates, my Nigerian, my Ghanaian roommates, we were so proud about it. So I am real that our president has gone. Where has it gone? It's like they have no soul. You've just explained that. But it was blocked. Just like today, Cameroonians are suffering because the people around the president are hiding things from him and focus on their own survival. Your story, big brother, reinforces the credibility of Project C and its members. We are trying to find the Cameroon that we grew up in. And to bring that Cameroon into the modern age where we are being left behind and most Cameroonians are living in past glories. When we were, right? That's what is being said in Cameroon today. And the rest of the world is moving on, even the smallest countries, because there's a level of objectivity within the leaderships of those countries. There's a level of community, of feeling to represent the citizens and not themselves in those countries. So your story reaffirms what we're fighting for. We're not very serious, qualified technology. We want to give those same people an those are they're sitting there and they don't have that ability. Project C, we are in this not for us, but to allow that Cameroon, that President Paul Biya that we know, and how do we eradicate these people around him? We're not fighting President Biya, we are fighting those people that are blocking the things that need to be done. I believe President Biya is a good man, but his soul has been taken away and portrayed almost like a devil. And it's not right. I pray every day, and Cameroonians pray, that these people around him would let him go, would let him do what is right. I believe that if President Biya is informed of what the level of mistreatment of Cameroonians, in 2026, you watch a military person treat a citizen of Cameroon like Cameroonians should join us to take back our country. We have to take back our country. Cameroonians, the smartest people in the world, need to wake up. And those people, there is still room. There is still room they're experiencing, where all institutions are gone. How can that be? So, your story, I hope listeners, excuse me, take the story that Big Brother Eric just told us. And he has written again in the last 2 days to the president. Hopefully it's delivered. Hopefully it's delivered. That Cameroonians listening will realize what Project C is all about, and what we're fighting for. Constitution based on what the Cameroon that we want. What Cameroon do you want? Whether you're a PhD holder in America, or in London, in Cameroon, or wherever, where is the, be a part of
Thank you very much, Chris. I got carried away then and didn't realize. Candidates, wherever they are, to be part of this process. I see Judith, you have your hand up. I'm going to go straight to you, Judith.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for your participation. So thank you for your heartfelt expression. I think that for the previous speaker, I'm going to come at a slightly different angle, and it may be a little bit unpopular, but I have to express myself from a slightly different angle. I appreciate you leadership for this as a people. We who are asking everybody to take the leadership. It's often said that we get the leadership we deserve. And right now, I'll be very honest with you, we're absolutely getting.
I think we lost Judith there, and she was just about being very honest with us. But we lost her. Oh, she's back. She's back.
I'm not sure what happened. However, I want to commend RA for the consistency and Eric for the consistency in which we're keeping this call. One of the things I want to really take a look at ourselves. When the election was going on, when people realized we were voting for a change in the country, a change in the head and the leadership, they supported the election process. They did what they had to do, and they were here full force supporting. Now that process stopped, and
On a vraiment du mal à la suivre.
Yeah, maybe she's driving, and so it could be her network is going up and down.
I think Judith is back.
Yes, she's back. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So where is everybody? Where is everybody? At the very least, all of us Cameroonians should be on this call every week, getting an idea on how we can move forward. There were only 20 of us on the call. That's the first problem we have as a community. So that's number one. Number two, as family members, how many of us here, we promote ourselves when it comes to Jangi birthday parties, when it comes to other things that we do for ourselves and our self-development. Our patriotic aspect is one of the biggest and fundamental.
We lost you, but I think you're
Against all
back
of
now.
them,
Yeah.
looking for the best spot. If we can at least start bringing our own family members and children to this call, if we can decide that in each family we can at least do one thing, one member of each family can be a proxy call every week. Who wants to do tourism? Who wants to participate in something about Cameroon? We will start shaping the kind of activities we do. We can't come here expecting our leaders to go away when we don't have anything to put in place. So if we come here every week and we have a possibility for one piece of activity that we're doing, we will start shaping and building some kind of credibility, some kind of trust, some kind of camaraderie amongst us, opposed to preaching with each other and saying, let's bring this person this week. Let's bring
on television, on Zooms like this, but then we will go ahead and create committees that will look into drafting the Constitution. We want people from all walks of life to participate in this. There is no Cameroonian that's more important than another Cameroonian. We are all going to be Cameroon in this process. And at the end of the day, hopefully when we meet in October, we will come up with the final draft that we will offer to our country. There is nothing more noble. There's no World Cup, no Nations Cup that is more, should bring more reward and gratification to our country than the vision of a new Cameroon and a constitution that will accompany that vision to make sure that never again do we sidestep, adulterate our constitution, and have our people suffer what we, this generation, are suffering. We shouldn't. And all starts with a good constitution. So I'll stop here, Leopold, and I'll pass this.
Non, je voulais juste dire une indication, une observation sur le nombre de participants dans le Zoom. C'est que ce n'est pas un indicateur très, très fiable sur lequel on peut s'appuyer parce que les feedbacks que nous avons sont tels que nous sommes suivis par vraiment de très hauts responsables au pays. Et l'inconvénient du Zoom, c'est qu'on voit qui est en ligne. Donc, il y a des gens qui préfèrent suivre sur les autres plateformes de façon anonyme. Donc, on accepte, c'est le choix de chacun. Et la plupart de ceux qui sont sur le Zoom sont généralement de la diaspora. Donc, et puis certains disent en privé, ah, tu sais, vraiment, je préfère écouter sur YouTube parce que je ne veux pas qu'on m'empêche d'entrer au pays.
But we have people like Benjamin Gongang, qui est sur le terrain au pays, et that's one of the people who are really, I follow Benjamin religiously on his Facebook, and because he speaks the truth, very simple, but very, very, it's the truth. He brings the facts to the table. He makes us see just how much, I mean, our country is in debt, how much money is wasted, how much money is thrown at projects. You know, reminds us that people, you know, one minister would be in a position for 22 years. There's just no justification for one person being in for 24 years. There's no justification for that. Like, and look at what have they achieved? Probably nothing, right? And in many cases, nothing. So yeah. So we I know, yes, some people don't want to be anonymous, but here's what I'm going to say to Cameroonians, because we too could choose to be anonymous, but this is the time where everybody must rise up to the occasion. We say in Pidgin, at some point, any man must answer a papa name. At some point, everybody has to rise up to the occasion, and we cannot live in fear. We cannot live in anonymity. If we are serious, and if we are conscious of our responsibility, yes, then we will wear it with honor. We'll have a badge of honor for doing what is right.
Yeah.
What is necessary for our country. And so this is a strong appeal to everyone that is listening. Next week, Saturday, we will be back again. And when we come back next Saturday, we are going to be unveiling to you the plan for the next 4 months, where everyone has to participate, everyone, everywhere. And don't the people have the power. We constituted inherent, it's natural power to determine the kind of future that we want. For too long, it has eluded us. It's been an illusion that somebody else will do it for us. No, we have to do it. We're not picking up arms, we're building. We're looking forward to the kind of country that we should, and not waiting for someone else to do it for us.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, react to Judith's very, very important contribution to this discussion, and I'm glad that she said it. And we all should, continue to challenge ourselves to think creatively and bring our thoughts to the table, so that we can, as Ari was saying, pull it all together and try to build the country we want. The two little things I wanted to point out again, take us back to the Constitution. One is, one comes from the letter I said I wrote, but before I say that, the first thing that came to mind as I listened to Judith is the fact that some credible source in the presidency told me without a shadow of doubt that the president was not interested in running for office in 2025. That the president was not interested in running for office in 2025. And my question to him was, so why did he run? If he's not interested in running, he had to say that. Why did he run? And the answer that came back was, which was fairly easy to figure out, is everybody who's in office today draws their power from him, not from the president of the republic, but from Paul Biya. Take Paul Biya out, and the chances are maybe 50% of the people who depend on that name will not be there. They will not have the powers they have. So whether he liked it or not, he had to run. Now, the point I want to make is, why do we let a 93-year-old man decide or be in a position where others have to make the decision for him to run? There should be a limit to to how old a candidate for president should be. And that, again, depends on the Constitution. The reason, this fellow was telling me, the president didn't want to run. As a family member of Mr. Biya, a family member. But we don't have any restrictions on mandates, and we don't have any restrictions on the age limit. I mean, at my age now, I'm already beginning to forget things. Can you imagine if I were to have responsibility for the country and I'm forgetting important things? So, again, I say this to emphasize the need for us to really come together and think hard about our Constitution and put it out there. Whether the Parliament... Sorry, Leopold.
Est-ce qu'une constitution peut empêcher qu'un chef d'État soit pris en otage?
Pas du tout, mais s'il a un âge, s'il a cet âge où il ne peut pas prendre une décision pour lui-même, c'est ça le problème avec M. Biya.
Est-ce qu'il ne faudrait pas plutôt mettre l'accent plus sur la santé que l'âge? Parce qu'il y a des gens à 60 ans qui ont un état mental, qui peuvent avoir un état mental.
Non, rien n'empêche. Tout ça doit rentrer dans la balance.
Tout à fait.
Justement, c'est pour ces raisons qu'il faut débattre.
Oui, exactement.
Il faut débattre.
Absolument. Tout à fait.
La deuxième chose, toujours en réaction à Judith, in reaction to what you said, you'd get the impression based on what I said, and I have a lot in that letter which I'll reveal as we go along. There's a lot. But I just thought this one, which I was going to keep for later, I should say it now. That letter is an appeal for the president to find the final energy and leave office today, cannot afford another day. And to do that, I recalled in that letter a discussion I had in '97 with somebody who told me, if you guys don't do anything, and I quote it in the letter, I quote this discussion, if you guys do not do anything, Mr. Biya will be president for life. And in that letter, I said, Mr. President, I told him what I told the guy. I said, no, presidents for life are no longer topical. This, anybody who loves his country will not be president for life. That's what I said. And I said it in that letter to the president. So we are not in any way, I was not putting up a case. I just, in this letter, it was the truth. And I'd love to be able to tell the truth. And that truth will show a Biya who loved the country and had a program for the country, and a Biya who loved power and let power overtake. I have a lot of examples, which I'll talk about as we go forward, who just wanted to preserve his power. And somebody said, if you guys don't do anything, he'll be president for life. And I said to him, Mr. President, you have no interest in being a president for life. So you still have some days or some months or some years, whatever, but you still have time to change the trajectory of things for you. So I hope that puts something in perspective for Judith and everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Il y a quelqu'un qui veut parler.
Yes, Shira has had her hand up for a bit. So I'll pass this on to Shira whilst we begin to wind down here. We just hit the 2-hour mark. Yes. Hi, Shira.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, wherever anybody may be. The point I want to bring up is based on what I heard from Eric, his narrative, what is the experience he had with Biya and that particular program, and what I heard from Chris. I end up with the impression that Biya is being absolved of his responsibility. So I have a question for Eric, because at one point he said, I do not absolve him of his responsibility. And when Chris came up and spoke, I ended up with the impression that it is not Biya's responsibility for what is happening. So I would like to hear from Eric if that was his idea. And then also, we're complaining about his age today, he doesn't know what he's doing. But this was in '89. When the tape was not viewed, what did he do? He did nothing. So I do not think we need to say today that the people surrounding Biya are the problem. Yeah. All the people. It is Biya. If he cannot take his responsibility, then he's not fit to lead. From '89, it's not today that he's old. Then he appreciated the tape. He wasn't aired and he did nothing. And then we come and say, oh, Biya is loved. And then Biya was from the seminary and then became, he's not fit to lead, he's not fit to lead. He is responsible because he is the leader. So Eric, let us hear if Biya doesn't have the responsibility and then he stayed for all these 35 years later and then want Biya to be responsible. I don't think so. Yes. Thank you.
Tout ce que tu diras va t'engager, Eric.
Well, thank you, Shira. Your question actually helps me explain further Judith's point, the point that Judith made, because it's pretty much the same thing. We're not trying to absolve this president of his responsibilities, which is why I said, I told him the truth and pleaded with him to leave office. But again, to go along, the same lines as what you're saying, there's a monument that should have been built in Kribi 11 years ago, which the African Americans that I and a group of my friends, Avelina Avar and so on, brought to Cameroon. They were going to build this monument. The President of the Republic thought this was the most important legacy of his that he could leave. This was in 2015. He asked Bellinger Ebutu to let us know that, asked Philemon Yang to let us know that. And we were convinced this project which was going to be built by African money from Americans. Cameroon was not going to put $1 into this $250 million dollar project. All Cameroon had to deliver on was the land on which to build it. And Kribi was chosen because it was going to be a monument that would speak to the rest of Africa. And it wasn't, Mr. Yang suggested we build it in Yaoundé. And the Americans said, no, it's for Africa, so it should not be in some single capital. And the president was all excited about it. And after we left his office, after we left the presidency, after he received us to tell us how excited Mr. Biya was about this, and things started happening, the land was found and all of that. But Bellinger said, if he doesn't have his own share in this, it will be over his dead body. So in spite of everything Mr. Biya wanted, that program never took place. Why? Again, gets to your point. The man is not a leader. It gets to your point. He could have been, and we have other examples of this nature, where he could have put his hand on the table and said, do what I instruct you to do. It's never done. So no, we're not trying to whitewash the Biya legacy. His legacy will be what it is. And as I say, as we go forward, we will bring out more information that proves the point. But this is not to weigh in one way or the other. It's just the information that will allow people to know that if we don't figure out how we put brakes, how we put I don't find the right word, I'm sure, but how we put, we impose certain limits to presidential power, we'll continue to have this. And the only way we're going to do it is through the Constitution. So yes, please, we're not absolving him of all the inability to lead that we've seen throughout 40 years. No, not at all. But it is also true that he had great ideas for the country, but he's never been able to push them. He didn't have, not even a vision that people bought into. So take it out of, let us move on. In 40 years of whatever it has been, we're trying to see how we can move on in the best ways possible and learning from the last 4 decades. Sorry, I'll stop there.
C'est ça, en fait. Tenir compte des leçons du passé pour que cela ne se produise plus jamais.
Oui.
Encadrer le pouvoir du président, les réduire au maximum, avoir des institutions qui permettent.
Absolument. Le mot que je cherchais, c'est cet encadrement-là. Et il faut qu'on le fasse. Et, I don't know, mais peut-être on voit le Pierre.
I see Chris Shira. I see Shira's hand still up, but I think it's from when she last spoke. And I'll turn it over to Chris now. And then after that, we're going to close.
I will be really quick. I really like what Judith and the other speaker, I'm driving, so I didn't get the name, but I really like what you both said to make sure that we clarify. And I think Brother Eric did that. I want to make it very, very clear. The only point we're making is how this man lost his soul somewhere along the line. The buck stops with him. The buck stops with him. Absolutely. And he needed to have left office years ago. So absolutely not freeing him from his responsibilities at all. I just wanted to emphasize when I talked about the planned liberalism, to tie in with Brother Eric's story, to say how powerful these individuals around him are. But at the end of the day, he is the CEO.
Yep.
He is responsible for the suffering of Cameroonians and the blood that Cameroonians have endured, and the many Cameroonians that have been in prison.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He is responsible, and that will be his legacy.
Yep.
And what I was trying to say is that he has an opportunity to save some of it.
Yep.
And free Cameroon before he leaves.
Exactly.
He has to free Cameroon before he leaves. So we are not at any, if there's any inclination that we are freeing him from his responsibility, no. And I repeat it, no. He is responsible for the blood of Cameroonians in the Northwest, Southwest, and this last elections, those that are in jail today for no reason, the kids that are suffering, he is responsible.
Yeah.
We just wanted to share the fact that the people surrounding him have a level of power that is unprecedented.
Yeah.
And we have to eliminate those people, take back our country from them. These stories were just to reinforce the power of those people around the president, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So thank you for helping us to clarify. That's why these conversations are wonderful. So that we tell stories, but sometimes in the interest of time, we try to speed up and not make it clear. So thank you, both of you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So as I was saying, before, we will be back next Saturday, and next Saturday we will spend a lot of time talking about the surveys, because we want to begin on the 1st of June with surveys that will be done online, surveys that will be short form and long form, surveys that will include some open questions, but we want to at least reaching 1% of the population of Cameroon, which would be somewhere around 250,000 to 300,000 people, depending on, and if we do that, that's a significant engagement level. But we know that not everybody is going to be online, right? So we're also going to try to get people on the ground in Cameroon to go knock on doors, to fill out those surveys and report back to this platform that we're going to put in place. This is also my appeal to anyone. For us to do this, we need to raise some money. So for everyone that has been contributing on our platform, that has signed up for the monthly donation, and I see one or two people here, and I want to thank you for your continuous contribution to Project C. Anybody can go to the website and sign up to do either the monthly contribution or make a donation. This project we are embarking on to rewrite our story, to draft a new constitution for our country, is the most noble of task that you can do for your country. So we ask for your support. Every $5 or $10 or 1,000 francs, just to make sure that even people in Cameroon can contribute to this thing. We want to hire young people, put them to work on the ground in Cameroon, so that everybody's voice is heard. They would go do these interviews with the women who are frying puff by the street corner. We want to hear from the pygmies in the rural parts of the eastern province. We want to hear from people along the banks of Lake Chad. We want to hear people on in the remote parts of our country participate in this process. So we want to explain, we'll take you through the surveys and why those questions are important and how it would lead us to redefining our country. I've said a lot, but I don't know whether, Leopold, you can summarize this for us in French.
Oui. Oui, on disait que à partir de la semaine prochaine, nous allons être plus expressifs sur le plan d'action que nous voulons entreprendre pendant les 4 mois. Et on commencera par ces sondages. auquel nous convions le maximum de personnes de participation. Nous allons nous appuyer aussi sur des associations partenaires sur le terrain. On les fera aussi en ligne. Il y aura des questions fermées, des questions ouvertes. Nous invitons vraiment tout le monde à y souscrire, à y participer. Et pour cela, nous avons besoin de moyens. Donc, tout appui financier, tout soutien financier sera le bienvenu. Et tu as mentionné 2, 3 donateurs qui sont en ligne en ce moment et à qui nous adressons tous nos remerciements. Donc, tout appui est le bienvenu. Il y en a qui choisissent de soutenir mensuellement, il y en a qui choisissent de faire un don. Vraiment, ils sont les bienvenus parce que nous aurons besoin de recruter des jeunes sur le terrain pour pouvoir mener ces enquêtes-là bien. Pour que ce ne soit pas comme le recensement, ça tu ne l'as pas dit, que ce ne soit pas comme le recensement de la population actuellement qui semble battre de l'aile parce que l'argent qui était supposé parvenir aux enquêteurs sur le terrain, ils ont d'ailleurs écrit une mise en garde au Premier ministre pour dire qu'ils ne reçoivent pas, ils risquent de ne pas recevoir ce qui était prévu pour eux. Et ça, cela est de nature à remettre en question la qualité du recensement qu'il y aura. Or, nous ne voulons pas du tout ce genre de choses. Notre travail est vraiment encadré et nous voulons avoir vraiment les moyens de nos actions. Donc, nous avons besoin vraiment d'appui et on ne cessera jamais de le dire. Toute la transparence sera accordée à ce processus-là.
Absolutely. Eric, any last word before
no,
we sign
absolutely. No, great. I thought Père Janvier.
Père Janvier, justement, de Mexico, il était là. Bon, mais comme il n'a pas levé la main, on s'est dit que peut-être que les pères ne lèvent pas la main.
Anyway, but thanks. I think this is great.
Good.
And we'll have a lot to disclose next week, you know.
There'll be a lot more. But again, you know, one of the committees that we have for the process is storytelling. Storytelling, then there's the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. That's all going to be part of this process because we need to remind people.
Space.
Yeah, that happens. So we're going to be back here next week, next Saturday. Thank you all for.
I don't know whether Père Janvier just wanted to say something quickly.
He came on, and then
he's back on now. But if he doesn't, then we should. Yeah. Sorry, close it because I think we're way over time now.
Yes. Père Janvier, tu avais quelque chose à dire?
Je suis là, effectivement.
OK.
Mais j'écoute, je suis.
OK.
Je vous écoute parfaitement bien.
OK.
Je voulais juste dire quelque chose là où cette semaine, j'ai eu beaucoup de douleur dans mon cœur avec La première des choses, c'est que au lieu de combattre l'ennemi commun que nous avons, on a créé un combat entre Kamto et Chiroma. Kamto et Chiroma ne sont pas des ennemis. Peut-être qu'ils ne voient pas, ils parlent un langage différent, mais ils vont vers le même but de la libération du Cameroun. Il y a quelque chose qui s'est passé je crois que c'est à Zoétélé, où on a commencé à piller les boutiques des gens qui sont de l'ouest, du nord-ouest, du sud-ouest. Ce qui est vraiment très, très, très regrettable. Et je voudrais inviter chacun de nous, en ce qui le concerne, à condamner cela, vraiment, parce que c'est des petites choses. Ce qui arrive au Rwanda, ça peut nous arriver. Hein? Le génocide qui arrive au Rwanda peut nous arriver, comme on va faire la chasse à l'homme. Donc, moi, je dis, et si ça arrive, nous sommes tous responsables. Donc, nous devons vraiment dénoncer. Moi, mon grand frère a épousé une fille boulou du Sud. Donc, mes neveux sont boulous. J'en connais beaucoup de familles comme ça. Donc, le problème du tribalisme qu'on a fabriqué pour nous imposer cela, c'est une faute, c'est pour nous distraire. Donc, moi, je souhaiterais vraiment que nous puissions, chacun à son niveau, comme ces gens vont sur la toile et faire des posts pour lever, pour exciter les gens à se détester, nous devons aussi montrer à toi pour exciter les gens à s'aimer. Comme disait Nelson Mandela, si on les a appris à détester, on peut les apprendre aussi à aimer. Ça, c'est une citation de Nelson Mandela. Je ne sais pas dans quelle occasion, mais je dis qu'il a dit ça quand on parlait de l'apartheid en Afrique du Sud. Donc, si on apprend aux Blancs à détester le noir, on peut aussi apprendre à aimer le noir. Donc, moi, vraiment, je voudrais nous inviter à cela. Il y a un problème qui est sur la table aujourd'hui. Je ne sais comment on va faire ça. Si nous abandonnons les prisonniers politiques, nous n'aurons pas de troupes sur le terrain. Il faudrait qu'un enfant sort dans la route, il est sûr que ses grands frères, ses frères qui sont à la diaspora, tout le monde sont derrière lui. Or, si aujourd'hui, on les abandonne, les partis politiques ont abandonné, c'est pas le problème. Ils regardent maintenant vers les élections. Qu'est-ce que les élections, je ne sais pas. Mais je pense que nous, la société civile, nous ne devons pas abandonner les prisonniers politiques. On essaie au niveau de la synergie de faire ce qu'on peut. L'autre jour, on m'a fait parvenir des images d'un certain Essama que je connais très bien, un très grand militant du MRC, dont le doigt du pied droit en train de pourrir. Et l'autre jour, c'était un petit enfant à la prison de Fumbal qui avait eu hernie. Et je pense que vraiment, ce serait très bien pour nous, vraiment, que nous puissions prendre cela à cœur. Quelqu'un disait hier à la réunion du DCC qu'on a eu, qu'à chaque fois, si on peut lever même un seul dollar pour envoyer à cette équipe qui s'occupe des prisonniers, ce serait une très, très bonne chose. Et moi, je suis allé plus loin en disant que si chacun de nous sommes ici 20, si on cotise $1, ça fait $20. Chaque semaine, $20. Ça dit qu'en un mois, on a $100 qu'on met à la disposition de nos frères et sœurs qui sont en prison. Ils sont là parce qu'ils ont osé défendre ce que nous sommes en train de défendre sur la toile. Donc, vraiment, je voudrais une fois de plus remercier le projet XI et vous encourager. J'ai eu un entretien avec un Algérien qui disait ceci. C'est parce que tu mets beaucoup de feu en bas de la nourriture que ça va se cuire vite. Non, ça va se brûler. Ça va prendre son temps. Ça dit que ce combat prendra le temps qu'il faudra. Mais nous ne devons pas nous décourager. Nous ne devons pas nous décourager. Même si nous ne sommes que 5-10 ici, on doit tenir le cap. Donc, Auré, merci Eric, merci Léopold, merci Richard, merci Yvi, merci Kado, merci Géraldine, merci Kalamay, merci Robinson, merci merci Jaime, merci Peter, merci Chris, merci Dr. Thérèse, merci Mini, merci Judith, et Patrick, merci. Alain, merci. On se retrouve.
On se retrouve ça.
Une petite prière. OK, merci.
Merci.
OK.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.